Hello folks, welcome back to Reality Check with Arvind Swaminathan. I am Arvind Swaminathan and this is my new 10 avatar. 2-3 days of good sunshine and this is the result. Don't worry, I might get absolutely black before long. Now, back to business. Last time we discussed one part of the Constitution of India, which is secularism. This time we'll come to the second and next time the third part. The second part is that we are a democracy. And believe me, that has been abused and misused all along. Whether we like it or not, this is a fact of life. Where did it begin? Well, let's look at it this way. When the Congress Working Committee asked all the state governments to recommend somebody for Prime Minister of India in 1947, all of them sent in their votes. 12 were for Sardar Patel, 2 for Sitaramaiah and 1 for Kripalani, none for Nehru. Nehru used his emotional blackmail over Gandhiji to make him get the others to withdraw, and that is how he became Prime Minister. So where was democracy? Was this not blatant misuse or abuse of democracy? It was. Therefore, democracy had been murdered right at the very beginning, even before we became independent. So how can any congressman or anybody else say we are a democracy? It no longer exists. It never did exist. Now, democracy means people have to be elected by the people. People of the people, elected by the people, for the benefit of people. And yet, now not only this, but democracy has been murdered in so many different ways that most of us don't even think about it because we've never had the time. Successive governments have ensured that we're so busy just trying to make ends meet that we don't have the time to think and figure out what is really happening, what's going on. And to this day, we haven't understood it. For instance, recently, and I say recently, I mean during the time of Shaheen Bagh, they said, out came this particular thing, Tukde Tukde gang. Now we think, it's a bit of a joke, only a few people. And these characters were taken in by the Congress party. And yet how many of us have realized that the country has already been split up, it has already been cut into tukras? How? If you would like to know, please listen. And listen carefully. Indira Gandhi de-recognized all the princes in the 1970s and reduced them to the state of commoners. But we also know that when you remove one power echelon or one power hierarchy, the vacuum created, somebody else has to come in and take over. And believe me, they have taken over, except we don't realize it. The country has already been split. It is no longer India. It is run like personal company fiefs or private limited companies belonging to certain families. And this is true of almost every state. You don't believe it? Okay, I'll give you examples. Jammu and Kashmir is the Abdullah family and the Mahbooba family. Haryana is the Chautala and the Bhajan Lal family. UP is Akhilesh and Mulayam Singh Yadav and the Mayawati families. Bihar is Nitish Kumar and the Lalu Yadav families. Jharkhand is the Soren family. Bengal or West Bengal is the Mamata Banerjee and her nephew. Odisha is the Patnaiks. Andhra is Chandrababu Naidu and his children. Telangana is KCR and his children and now Owaisi. Tamil Nadu is Karunanidhi and his son Stalin. Also his sibling Kanimori. Now the only two or three states which are still trying to figure out who's going to be top dog. One of them is Karnataka, another is Kerala. Maharashtra you have the Thackeray's and you have the Sharad Pawar family. Rajasthan you have the Gehlot family and the Pilot family. Madhya Pradesh you have Kamal Nath and Nakul Nath. You almost had another one, but he has left the Congress. So, how many states in India remain? The Northeast, they're still in their infancy. They haven't been around long enough. And above all, they claim the Nehru Gandhi family at the center. That is where it all began, and this is what they have done. So, where is democracy? What have they done to our constitution? So, where is democracy when these families rule each state as if they were the private, personal companies? What happened to democracy? With this comes something else. How are people elected in India today? No, they are not free and fair election. No, they can't be. Because as long as you have these families, they use all sorts of techniques. One, they offer freebies. Two, all else failing, Gunda Raj. Threaten people to vote in their way. Third, they openly buy votes. How do they do that? I'll explain in a minute. But this is how elections take place. And it is not what you call a democracy, not in my way of thinking. Now, let's see. If a person knows that a large faction is going to a different, or the opposition or the opposing candidate, they will send their gundas around and frighten people into voting this way. Or the other ploy is they will send people into their bastis or jhuggi jhopris, offering bottles of whiskey or rum or local hooch with 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 rupees, whatever is the going rate. This is buying votes, nothing else. Make no mistake, this is buying votes. The other thing is freebies. For instance, recently one of the parties were offered mobiles, smartphones, right? Now, what does that mean? Where did it start? It started in Tamil Nadu with free meals for school children in school, which is a very good thing, yes, because it meant kids got at least one square meal a day and they attended school and some education was imparted. But it just got out of hand. They started giving away bicycles, they started giving away personal computers, and now mobile smartphones. I mean, where is it going to end? Then you got another party that offers free electricity, free water, and they expanding it to money or money in your bank if you're at a certain school, or if you're a certain age and you're still in school, or if you're a female. Now, I mean, where is this leading us? Let's get this straight. I don't know how many of you have heard of a country called Venezuela. It's on the northern bit of South America. It was a very rich country, affluent country, with a standard of living probably higher than the US, because the country was floating on oil. Along comes the president and gives his people free water, free electricity, free meals, free food. The result, they're too drunk at night to be able to go to work next morning. That country is now almost bankrupt because people don't want to work or they're too drunk to be able to work. Is this what we want with freebies? But what we haven't understood yet is what are freebies for? It's like telling every citizen of this country, I'm corrupt, yes, but so are you because you've accepted this. I have bought your vote. You have sold yourself to the highest bidder. Is this what we want? And why does this happen? Because there's no education, no proper schooling, no nothing. 60 or 70 years of this. Now somebody is giving us something and you want to kick him for doing it? This is what the opposition is trying to do. And all they're saying is, we're corrupt. No, he's corrupt, you're corrupt, you're corrupt. What does this mean? I mean, so where is your democracy? Where is your free and fair election? Is this the kind of political leadership we want? Somehow I don't think so. I don't think this is what we need. Because when he gives you freebies, what does it mean? He's not going to pay for it out of his pocket. Or if he does, if he spends 10 crores out of his pocket, he spends it because when he gets elected, he's going to get 100 to 200 crores, which he's going to put in his pocket first, before he thinks of anything else. This is his first priority. And where does that money come from? Increased or higher taxes. Or somebody pays a much higher rate for the same thing. So he's not giving you anything. It's your money, it's our money, and so on. It's not his money. If he had it, he wouldn't give it. If it is his, he won't give it, unless he knows it's like a business, like a personal family business. He invests 10 crores, he gets back 200 crores. That is the way he's running this country. And we're stupid or mad enough to actually vote these guys into power. What's happened to us? Don't we have the sense or the common sense to think these things out? Have we become so brainwashed that whatever they tell us we believe? Is there no stop or no end to this? The other aspect of elections is, where do all these criminals come in from? Why are they allowed to even file their nominations? Nowhere else in the world is this permitted. May I give you a small example of many years ago in the UK. A man called John Profumo, who was then Defence Minister or Defence Secretary as they were called, he got into a group where there was something like somebody called Christine Keeler and a whole lot of call girls and so on. He was taken to task in the British Parliament, and he said there was nothing improper in his relationship with all these people. A month later, he resigned because he said there is something improper in this, because that is how I might be induced into giving out state secrets. Therefore, it is improper. He resigned not because of the fact that it was an improper relationship, but because he had told a lie to the British Parliament. On that, he resigned. And his political career was over. He never came back into politics after that. Here, criminals, usually kept by politicians, now they become much more bold. They want to become politicians. Why? The moment they become elected representatives, their entire history sheet is wiped clean. Now they can indulge in bigger and a much wider scale of activities, all criminal, to increase their wealth even further and become another one of these political families. And we allow it? Why? Why isn't there a law that stops this sort of nonsense from going on? Why isn't the Election Commission empowered to stop and throw out these nominations? They should never be accepted. And it is on the strength of this that people who are waiting trial, their trials just keep getting put off. Because if they are elected, you can't prosecute them, which goes back to the British laws. You could not prosecute a British white man in this country. That is why those laws were made. And we are saying that you've now got white men who are brown-skinned, but you can't touch them because they are members of the legislature. Now, why hasn't that been changed? Another of the many things that need change. Criminals should not be permitted to take part in our leadership. They should not be in our state or central assemblies or Lok Sabha or any such place. And yet they're allowed. People actually sitting in prison can contest elections. What is this? What kind of nonsense is this? This is not democracy. People are sent to prison to deprive them of those rights. And yet you're going against it. Why is this done? Why is this permitted? Why doesn't this stop? Why do political parties give these people tickets? And when somebody, as for instance in UP, goes after the mafia and goes after these criminals, you don't like it. Why? You want this Gunda Raj to continue. You want the Mafia Raj to continue. If not, for heaven's sake, don't vote them into power. Because if you do, you're stuck with it for years and you won't get out of it. Well, folks, I hope you enjoyed this one, because believe me, it's quite a hot topic. And it's something that needed to be talked about for years, but nobody has ever brought these things up. And it's about time it came out from under the carpet into open view. Well, thank you very much, folks. If you like, please press the like and subscribe button. Tell your friends, circulate among your friends, among your groups. Tell them to send it on to their groups, because this is a very important point and it must be looked at and addressed as quickly as possible. Thank you. Goodbye. See you next time.